You're watching Everyway Woman. Different women, different opinions, great conversation. I did not tell my mother that I was molested for 40 years. So the tendency for people to say is, well, it didn't happen to you. Why didn't you say anything? And so that is why they're standing behind them and they're saying, you know what? How are you coming out now and talking about this? If it was so traumatic for you, why didn't you say anything then?
Right, and
I
that's the
take
problem,
issue with that.
And it's like, as far as with Anthony Weiner, I just want to know, when is it ever a good idea for a man to send a picture of his little member? These are all items you have in your pantry. Now, there is no reason to spend money on eyeshadow primer.
Now, the tendency for a lot of people that are doing squats for the first time is to let the knees collapse in like that. You don't want that to happen. You want to make sure those knees stay tracked over the toes.
The best way to comb hair, any type of hair, is to start from the bottom and work your way back.
You know, there's always been this idea that you have to really conform to this mold. And so this opens it up where, okay, I can be public about being a lesbian. I'm sure there have been lesbians before that have been in the pageants, but they couldn't say that.
But, you know, I was talking to her and I started talking to her about, well, you know, the secret to a married life, happy marriage is learning how to fight right.
Right.
And she was like, I don't want to hear it.
My parents even taught me that even a teacher is technically a stranger, right?
But honestly, you know, my parents didn't have that conversation with me. We did not talk.
We lived in a different time than kids do today.
That, you know, they still have to have the sex talk with me because they haven't yet.
She needs to make a scene, so she's going to flop on the floor. So I go like this, and she falls all the way down to the floor. And now by the time I go to pick her up, maybe it's too much of trouble for me now.
So I need you guys to join with me. There's like a roll. Say it so nicely.
So here we go. So now I'm just folding it all down.
Okay.
And it's right at the top of the skirt.
Okay. If it's not rising, we'll give them 2 nice puffs, creating their chest to rise. And the next thing, we're going to straighten into chest compressions. We'll compress deep and hard as long as it takes until paramedics show up.
But I remember feeling that the doctor not really embracing me, just like, oh, well, here's just another fat black woman.
The worst side effect of menopause was the weight gain.
When I got married, I would see, my husband and I would see, you know, these women with their strollers and the babies, and I'm like, oh my God, look at that fatty with the jiggling.
I was a teenager in my early 20s, and I used to, for a date, I would fast for 17 days on nothing but water.
But the most heartbreaking part to me was when a family member came into my home and called me fat.
How do I get back into my bikini sexy body?
Every time I call you, you in the drive-thru. But go ahead.
The lingerie gets them through the door, but the football keeps them coming back.
And it was kind of tough because being the only girl, you get singled out.
Thank you for watching Everyway Woman. And ask yourself, are you an everyway woman?